Good evening and welcome. I'm very glad you're here. Wherever you are right now, whatever kind of day you've had, this moment is just for you. There's nothing you need to achieve, nothing you need to fix, nothing you need to remember. You've already done enough for today. So if you'd like to, make yourself comfortable. Perhaps adjust your pillow or allow your shoulders to soften just a little. And as you settle, you might notice your breathing without needing to change it. Just noticing in and out, slowly, naturally. Tonight, I'd like to offer you a quiet reflection, something gentle, something unhurried. Not a story that demands attention, but one that simply keeps you company as your thoughts begin to drift. And if at any point you fall asleep, that's perfectly fine. That's exactly what this time is for. The reflection begins. There's a particular kind of calm that arrives late in the evening, not the sort of calm that needs effort, but the kind that appears when the world grows quieter on its own. The road's empty, the lights soften, the day slowly loosens its grip. And in those moments, we're reminded that we don't always need to do anything to feel at peace. Sometimes peace arrives when we stop trying to hold everything together. You may have noticed how much of life is spent leaning forward, planning, anticipating, bracing for what comes next. But nightfall invites us to lean back instead, to rest in the knowledge that nothing more is required of us right now. Just being here is enough. If your mind begins to wander, that's all right. Thoughts may come and go, like clouds drifting across a quiet sky. You don't need to follow them. You don't need to push them away. Just allow them to pass at their own pace. And if one lingers, you can gently return your attention to the sound of my voice. Steady, unrushed, unconcerned with time. Earlier today, you may have been pulled in many directions. Conversations, decisions, responsibilities. Perhaps some moments went well, others less so. But tonight, none of that needs revisiting. You can imagine placing the day gently to one side, as though setting down a coat that's been worn long enough. You don't need to carry it into the night. The night is for rest, and rest does not require explanation. As you breathe, you may notice a subtle heaviness beginning to appear. Not a weight, but a grounding, as though your body remembers how to relax on its own. Muscles softening, jaw unclenching, hands resting easily. You don't have to check. You don't have to adjust. Just allow. Imagine for a moment a quiet place that feels safe and familiar. Might be a room lit by a single lamp, or a bench beneath a night sky, or a view through a window as rain falls gently outside. There's no urgency here, no schedule. Time stretches and then seems to disappear altogether. In this place, you are not expected to perform. You are not judged. You're simply allowed to rest. And perhaps that's something we don't offer ourselves often enough. Permission to pause. If sleep hasn't arrived yet, there's no need to hurry it along. Sleep has its own rhythm. It will come when it's ready, just as you are. Until then, you can stay here, listening, breathing, drifting. I'll continue speaking softly for a while, so there's no need to stay awake. You can let the words fade into the background, like a distant conversation in another room. And when sleep arrives, you can take it with you. You're safe. You are at rest. And tomorrow can wait. And as you continue to rest here, you may notice that listening requires less effort now. The words don't need to be held onto. They can simply arrive and then leave again. There's no need to remember anything that's been said. Nothing here needs to be followed or understood. You can allow your attention to soften, as though you're listening from a little further away. And if thoughts appear, that's perfectly fine. They can drift alongside my voice without interrupting it. Just like sounds outside a room, present but unimportant. You might notice that your breathing has slowed slightly, not because you've changed it, but because your body remembers how to settle on its own. There's a quiet intelligence in that, a knowing that doesn't need instruction. You don't need to help it along. In the quiet of the evening, there's often a moment where the world feels suspended. Not asleep, not awake, just resting in between. You might imagine being in a softly lit room. Nothing bright, nothing sharp. Perhaps there's a lamp nearby, or the faint glow from outside a window. The kind of light that doesn't ask anything of your eyes. Everything around you is still, and that stillness feels steady, reliable, safe. There's no sense of time here. No need to think about what comes next, or what came before for that matter. Just this gentle pause. If you like, you can imagine a quiet evening scene. A street after nightfall, when most windows are dark and the air feels cooler. There's a sense that the day has finished speaking and nothing new needs to begin. You're simply passing through, unhurried, unobserved. Each step feels lighter than the last. Or perhaps you imagine sitting somewhere still, listening to a distant, familiar sound. Something repetitive, comforting, like rain or wind moving gently through the trees. The sound doesn't change. It doesn't demand attention. It simply continues. At this point, it's no longer important to form clear images. If they fade, that's a good sign. You can let the words become more like texture than meaning. It's just a steady rhythm in the background. You don't need to stay awake for this part. You don't need to follow along. You can let go completely, knowing everything is fine as it is. I'll continue speaking quietly for a while, but you don't need to listen anymore. Sleep can arrive whenever it's ready. And you can take it with you.